Thanks for joining me on this episode where we're going to talk about what it's like on a general day on safari. Not everybody understands what it's like to be out in the bush and the actual process of each day. So on this episode, join Thabisa and me as we talk about waking up in the morning to what it's like throughout the day and then going to sleep at night. See you there. Getting to know your guide on safari is like creating your own tribe. And don't ever underestimate the content of value that this person can bring to your experience. In Zimbabwe, they are probably they have the top guiding experience in Africa. And they've undergone rigorous training, probably a 4-year course on understanding and knowing the Latin names, the Shona names, and the Ndebele names of each animal, each bird, each tree. So their knowledge is extensive. They also understand animal movements, and at different times of the years they will be able to explore with you what animals are moving around the concession or that park area that you're visiting on those specific times of the year. So listen to your guide and take in what the information that he can share with you. If he's saying, we've been noticing a group of hyenas at this time of the day, let's go and sit at this pan. Take that on and always know that it's up, it's just luck, it's not always a given that you're going to find that stuff. So they work under pressure, they want to deliver, and you will have the most incredible time with them. I'm sitting here today with Tubbs, and Thabisa is one of our resident guides at Ivory and Kuli Lodge, and he's going to describe to us today what it's like to actually be on a safari and be what it's like from the morning into the evening and what do you expect to do that. So I just want to introduce you to Thabisa. Hi Tubbs.
Hello, how are you?
Good. So you know how we're going to chat to people who probably don't understand what it's like to be on a safari. So describe to us from the moment you get woken up in the morning, what you expect in your day.
All right, so typically our day begins early in the morning, say at around 5. So if you'd like to go to the park, we wake up as early as 5. We do some wake-up calls for our guests. So normally we would carry our torch because it will still be dark, and we walk up to the room and we say to them, wakey wakey, let's go for safari.
So it's a knock on the tent. Knock knock, wakey wakey. And you have to answer, otherwise they come in and look for you. Right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Then after that, they will come to our main area, our main lodge. That's where we have our coffees and our muffins and biscuits, just prepping up for our game drive. The vehicle will be ready, and we hop in the vehicle and get to see what you can find in the bush.
So just let me interrupt here, because what I want to describe is that we're not going into an area where around every corner you're going to expect to see something. So it's not a zoo experience. You have to work for it. You have to put your trust in the guide to understand what resident animals are around there, what animals are moving around in that area at that time, the seasons, and they then go out and use the tracking on the ground or on the trees, right? It's not all about just walking around the corner or driving around the corner and that's when you see an elephant or a lion. They have to go and look for those animals.
Oh yeah, that's true. So depending on the luck of the day, sometimes you can find some things that are very interesting upon the beginning of the day. I've had experiences whereby we've actually drove out of the lodge. Soon after, we get to see massive heads of elephants, massive heads of buffalo, and it's so amazing. And at some point you think that the safari is over because you think that's the best that the day has got to give you. But as you drive into the park, nothing stays the same, because each and every day nature has got something to tell us, and it's like newspaper is always new every day. Yeah.
So I think after that you would normally have breakfast out in the park or out on the game drive, wherever you are, and the guide will take out like a picnic breakfast, and it's really lovely, and you're outside and you're eating cooked breakfasts and coffees and flasks of tea and everything, and you carry on your drive. But when the sun gets a little bit too high, generally then it's time to come back to camp because it's too hot, and it's unlikely that you'll see much movement from then on. So you normally come back into camp around 11 o'clock, and that's siesta time. So it's a time for you to spend either with the guide, and you can talk about the animals that you've seen, or they'll bring out their guidebooks and birding books, and you can talk about, you know, anything of interest that you have found along the way. Or you can rest up in your room. It's always, you know, wherever you are on safari, it's a beautiful time of day just to rest up in your room, have a swim, and then have lunch. Or if you've had brunch, then generally the next game drive starts around about 3ish.
Yes.
So 3 o'clock you all meet back into the main area again, and there's generally beautiful spread of teas and coffees and cakes. And what the thing is about safari is that you shrink your genes on safari, right? Because it's all about eating and drinking on safari. So it's nothing about how they launder your clothes, it's about how much you eat. And then you go out on your next drive. So tell us about the evening drive, Tubbs.
Okay, so on the evening drive, depending on how keen the guests are, they may begin, say, from around 3 going to 3:30. Sometimes we've been at 4. So what we normally carry for drinks in the afternoon is our normal G&Ts and any other beverages that the guests would
Gin
like.
and tonic on safari is legendary for Africa, and it's one of the finest things that you'll learn to drink when you're on safari.
Oh yeah.
It's gin and tonic. Even if you never drank it before, you'll leave here drinking gin and tonic.
Oh yeah, that's true. So when you go out in the afternoon, we are trying to get to see what we can find and get to see what's new in the bush. But one of the most amazing things about going out on safari in the afternoon are the sunsets. So there are several places that you normally go to watch the sunset. We park our vehicle there and see what comes to us. That is so amazing.
Yeah. It's that twilight hour when the sun is just dipping down below the horizon, and the winds all stop and the sounds are even more amplified. So you're hearing the birds and the cicadas and generally that's when you listen out for lion calling and stuff. So it is the most beautiful time of the day, I think.
Yes, it is the most beautiful time of the day. So I really love drives both early in the morning and in the afternoon. But the one in the afternoon is my favorite because of the majestic sunset that you get to see.
And the sunsets in Africa are amazing because of I think it's more the dust particles, right? Dust particles at that time of the year, or even the fires. You know, the fires create a lot of bushfires, create a lot of beautiful oranges and reds in the sky. And then of course this time of the year when it's green, you're getting the contrast of the clouds and the masses of the storm clouds around, and then the greenery. So you get the green and then dark blue sky. So any time of the year is safari time, I think. There's something different every single time. So after that game drive, you generally head back into camp, and you're normally with a little spotting torch. So you're getting to see a little bit of the night movements and seeing what animals are out there at night. And you do the spotting just so that you're going to see the eyes, so you can pick up the animals from the eyes. And then you get into camp, and it's generally a quick freshen up, and then guess what? You're eating again. It's dinner time. Yeah. And that's when the banter starts and all the stories from your guides come out around the fire pit. And yeah, that's also a great time of the day.
Oh yeah. So also at night after dinner, we also sit by the fire and we watch our natural bush television. And we also have a little
Tubbs is being really polite. He calls it bush television. We call it the bullshit pit. Because that's when the guides overstimulate the stories, you know. It's all that poetic license that comes out at that time.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
And also at the fire we get to know each other a little bit better, and we also do a lot of stargazing because the stars will be shining bright at night there.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll see you on safari soon, and that would be a typical day. Like Tubbs said, every day is different. Every day is a new story, a new picture book, and you just got to keep turning those pages.
All right.
Thanks, Tubbs.
Thank you.
When you go out every day on safari, you never know what you're going to encounter with your guide. It all depends on the seasons as well. Say if you're coming in the high season, which is generally our dry season months, which is around May to November, you'll see massive animals and the mega herds congregating around waterholes. And generally this will be in the late evenings. So from 4 o'clock you'll go out, We offer pan sits as well, which is a wonderful way of just sitting there and waiting for the animals to come to you. You just sit at a waterhole and you just with your guide, and he will pick up certain interesting things that are happening around that waterhole that you probably would never have noticed if you were just driving past it. Don't ever think that it's a chase. Chasing from one waterhole to the next, or one group of animal interactions to the next, you're going to lose a lot of the perspective and the soul of what your safari is all about. In the green season, which is from November, when the rains start in Zimbabwe, to April, expect a very, very different landscape. Here you're going to see all the birth of the young being born and dropped. There's a lot more predator activity. You'll see lions sitting on anthills and walking on roads because they don't like to get their feet wet, and leopards also walking on the roads. So the predator activity, although harder to find because of the taller green grass, you'll see them having a lot more kills and of the babies at that time, and that's just one of the things of safari. You know, it's survival of the fittest, and everybody has to eat and everybody has to survive. There's also the perception that in the green season, because you don't see as much of the masses of herds, that you don't have the same experience. Well, you have a different experience in the green season, and the bush is lush and there's water everywhere, so the birding is phenomenal. Where you're sitting around looking at bird fowls and just at open pans. It is a very, very different experience. So I wouldn't discount either of them, whether you're going out in the dry season or the green season. They both hold much value at each time. And Tubbs, are we sitting here?
Yeah.
I can hear these birds. What are they? Can you see them? Can you hear them in the background?
Yeah, I can see just a bit, but from the call I can recognize them. Yeah. Those are the broad-billed rollers. So the broad-billed rollers are intra-African migrants, so they come right to this habitat at a certain point in time. It's very interesting to get to see them. Can you understand how much they've traveled to be here?
So when you say migrants, they're only here at this time of the year, right?
Yes.
And so they come from the north?
Yes.
From Europe?
No, not from they come from Europe, so they come as far as that and come all the way right up to Africa. Thinking of all the miles that they've traveled to be here, insane, and them coming to actually create a home for them temporarily.
Because they're not the same as what we call the Mazilakatsi roller or the lilac-breasted roller. These are broad-billed rollers, so they're a little bit different in color, right?
Yes, very, very different.
Let's try and see if I can catch them. I'm not sure if you're picking up the sound. But they are making a lot of racket in that tree up there.
Alright, I can be searching in the book so that I can at least show you how it actually looks like, because from the tree and the foliage you might not see it properly, but you can have a little sneak peek from the book here.
And this is what's interesting when you're on safari, is it's not just the animals that you're seeing. A lot of people are interested in the birds, and in Wangi National Park specifically, there's over 300 different species of birds. So if you're interested in birds, you'll spend your days with your binos looking in the trees, whereas my preference is, of course, predators, but I would love to spend my time looking at the footprints on the ground. But a lot of people are interested in the birds, and when you're out with your guide, your safari companion, their knowledge of all of that, the flora, the fauna, the types of birds, and they can see them from far away. And if you're interested in that, they will stop and spend a lot of time going through that with you. Hey.
Alright, so here's a sneak peek at how the broad-billed roller looks like. There it is.
I don't know if you can zoom in there, cameraman. So it's that one over there. Yeah. He's beautiful. He's got a lot of red on the back. Hey.
Oh yeah.
We're going to go and have a look for him now.
Alright.
Show me. Let's go.